Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're back on PTCGO because Steam Siege is now in the game. So on PTCGO you can now test fully for Worlds, which is perfect for us, but today we're actually playing a deck that doesn't have any new cards from Steam Siege, so there was no excuses for putting this one on PTCGO or not. It's going to be Trevenant. It was really successful at US Nationals, and I imagine it will also be a pretty strong pick for Worlds. A lot of people tipped this deck off because some of its biggest threats, like Metal, is threatened by Garbodor. Aquabox seems to get worse because of Ranger, which means it has a slightly worse Night March matchup. Trevenant doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't gain anything, it doesn't really lose anything. The biggest thing that it has to worry about is the Shaymin EX promo from Generations. Whether or not people are actually going to play that is a whole different story. So basically, Trev is the same as it was for US Nationals, and if Night March is stronger than it was at US Nationals, and it was still the best pick deck, having a pretty good counter to Night March is probably a good idea for Worlds. So Trevenant's, going to be a popular deck for certain. So this is our list right now. It's a pretty streamlined list. We're trying to just get Trevenant out as quickly as possible and stream the attackers and just do what Trev does best, which is turn one item lock as frequently as possible and combine that with good damage with Silent Fear. So let's get into the deck. It's all pretty simple stuff, not too many debates around these cards. We're playing 4 Phantump. Obviously the Ascension Phantump is what makes the deck, or part of the reason why the deck is so strong. If we're going second, we pretty much guarantee ourselves a Trevenant because we have this Ascension attack. For just 1 colourless energy, we search a deck for a card that evolves from Phantump and evolve into it. So we grab ourselves a Trevenant from the deck, go straight into it. Perfect. So basically we just need to have Phantump in the active position with either an energy or Dimension Valley in play, and that's pretty easy to do. So then we do have Trevenant himself. The stage 1 with 110 HP is okay. Resistance to fighting is actually pretty handy. A few Zygarde base decks have been popping up lately. I know Zygarde Vileplume is a whole different beast in itself, and really in that matchup it's who gets the item lock on first is way more likely to win. But it's normally easier for us to do so. If we develop the item lock, it's a lot harder for them to develop theirs. So having that resistance is nice. The dark weakness is obviously a pain. One of the Achilles heels of Trevenant really is that it has a dark type weakness, so there's a few counters out there. But it's all about the ability Forest Cursed. As long as he's in the active, your opponent can't play any item cards from the hand. Pretty good. Single-sided ability, item lock from an ability, very strong. Tree Slam's an option that we have in here for a Psychic and 2 colourless energy, or just 2 Psychic with Dimension Valley. We deal 60 damage, and we do 20 to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. It's actually pretty handy. It combines nicely with the Trevenant Break, which does 30 snipes around the board, or 3 counters at least. So having the 220 snipes in addition is helpful for dealing with Shaymin EXs, because you can do 3 Silent Fears and then a Tree Slam. So you get more damage on the active Pokemon as well as finishing off the Shaymin EXs. So it's a good option for you when you need to be more aggressive to the opponent's active Pokemon. Maybe they're just stacking up one big EX and you've got to start chugging through that. Or again, if it's just lower HP things, if you think there's a threat on the board, you can just deal with it a lot quicker with the Tree Slam, which is something to be aware of. But for the most part, it's all about Trevenant Break, so they still haven't added a rotation thing, which I can't understand why they wouldn't, flip this card over. Anyway, Pokemon, if you're listening, try and do that. Trevenant Break has 160 HP, which is a huge jump for us. Makes him a lot more difficult to knock out in one hit and gives us extra turns of getting these snipes off, because the attack is Silent Fear for a Psychic and Colourless, or just 1 Psychic Energy with D-Valley. Really nicely costed, cheap attack. It allows us to place 3 counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Very simple, very, very effective when you combine it with Item Lock. We can do Lysander Stalling and just spread it all around the board. We can do things like Team Flare Grunt, just allow Trainer Lock in general to slow people down. And this really adds up. This deals with, pretty much every deck needs to play Shaymin EXs down, even more so under Item Lock because they have no other means of draw. And it's just really, really good for you. It's just really awkward to play around, and that's what we really try and do. And as you can see, that's obviously going to give us a great Night March. Combine the early Item Lock, which is already horrific for Night March, but everything is low HP. So as soon as they're put onto the bench, they're going to be pressured. The only other Pokemon we have in here is a single Wobbuffet. Wob has the Bide Barricade ability. As long as he's in the active position, each Pokemon in play, hand, and discard pile have no abilities except for the Psychic types. So we throw Wobbuffet in the deck so that we can actually use his attack, Psychic Assault, for again a Psychic Colorless or just Psychic D-Valley. We do a base of 10 and 10 more for each damage counter on the opponent's active Pokemon. So when we're doing these sort of snipes around the board, we're sort of peppering things up, making them a little bit weaker. But sometimes if they've just got one big EX Pokemon that's going through Trevenant after Trevenant, it can be really awkward for you. So sometimes you've got to allow them a turn of items at the same time as shutting off abilities, bear in mind. But that means that you can get over their big attacker, get over like a 3 energy EX Pokemon. Something like a Yveltal EX would be really difficult to manage because we can't just go Trevenant after Trevenant. It's not that easy because we are effectively a stage 2 Pokemon that we can't rare candy. So with just a few of these snipes and then go into Wobbuffet, we can then finish them off a little bit quicker and then go back into the item lock strategy from there. Additionally, his ability alone gives you a good matchup potentially, or at least an above 50-50 against Vespiquen-based Vileplume-based decks, I should say. So the way I'm saying this, it's over 50-50, is because 50% of the time we're going to go first. And if we go first, we are likely to get the item lock, so we're likely to win that game. But then when we're going second, we can find Wobbuffet. And if we're able to find Wobbuffet, put him in the active, then we're not item locked anymore. So we can start developing Trevs. Then once they get over the Wobbuffet, our Trev goes active, we've item locked, they've item locked. It's like a stalemate type situation. So it's an interesting one. He's great for giving us a bailout option against the Vileplume players, which is pretty cool for you. So that's also something to bear in mind. Finally, 3 Shaymin EX, pretty simple stuff. We want to have a fairly high count. You could go to a full 4 potentially if you felt like it. I've only played the 3 in here because I want to have the highest odds of actually starting Phantump. It's just a fairly logical thing to want. But the 3 Shaymin EX allows us to dig, and we need to dig because turn 1, our supporter will not be a draw supporter. It's going to be Wally if we're able. So there we go. 3 Shaymin's going to help us get set up. Do bear in mind when you're playing Wobbuffet in this deck, the amount of times you see this, don't put your Shaymins down if Wobbuffet's in the active. Plain and simple. On to the items. We are playing one Sacred Ash to shuffle some Pokemon back from the discard pile into the deck. There's a debate whether this should be a Super Rod or an Ash. At some points I've wanted a 1-1 split of each. At the moment I'm happy with just raw Pokemon. Get as many Trev lines back as possible. We do have the 8 count of Psychic Energy, so we do have to be fairly careful with these, but obviously mitigated by the Dimension Valley a lot of the time. So I think we can get away with Ash. I think it just outclasses Rod when most of the times you're struggling is when Trevenant after Trevenant gets knocked out, right? So you want to get as many pieces back as possible. So it makes more sense for it to be a Sacred Ash than it would be a Rod. Because whenever I've had Rod in here, it's been me getting back at least 3 Pokemon. I've never sort of wanted more Psychics over the Pokemon. You just need to get more Trevenants back, basically. So I think this is the correct card in terms of cycle. We are playing one Battle Compressor. It can increase our outs to Wally, because if we have this plus VS Seeker, it's a way into one of our Wallies. So that alone makes me want to play it. Also, we have a few one-offs here that we can thin the deck of and use whenever we're able to with VS Seeker. We're actually playing 3 Acrobike in this list. Now, there's sort of a divide around Trevenant players, what they want to play. There's Hammer builds, there's red card builds, and there's just more disruption. My one is pretty straightforward. All I want is Wally. That's all I want. All I want to do is get into item lock. It's a pretty simple thing. It's the reason why Trevenant's good. Let's just get Trevenant out. Pretty simple. Acrobike is a way that we can draw more cards without using our supporter. So we're more likely to dig through the deck to find Wally, to get Wally, to win the game. That's basically my theory. I think looking at Worlds, if you want to win with Trev, you got to get Trev quite often. You need to maximize your odds of Trev. And me playing these 3 Acrobikes is my statement saying, you know what, cool, the red card, it's a fancy trick that can sometimes just win you games off of that back. Sometimes the Crushing Hammers, they go heads, they go your way, you're going to win that game. If they go tails, they're not going to, but that's just the risk you take. Here with Acrobike, we're saying, you know what, we're going to try and get Trev. Simple as that. And hopefully his own power, just trust in the ability, that's going to win you your games a lot of the time. Sometimes the hammers are just excessive and you would have to get rid of them anyway a lot of the time. So I'm happy with Acro personally, but I know there's a big divide. It's one of these weird decks where Trevenant has always like since the break came out, it's been a very top tier deck. But whenever you see a winning list, there's always like 10 or so cards difference. So people really haven't ironed out a perfect list for Trevenant just yet. It's sort of horses for courses, different matchups, different reasons why you'd want to play certain one-offs and stuff like that. I think pretty much for Worlds, you just got to have an open mind and think, you know what, get Trev as much as possible. I hope you win games that way. So that's what I've gone for in here. Feel free to tell me your favourite Trevenant build in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Trevenant's not a deck that I've played too often. I know some of my good friends have made lists and I've helped them out with lists for nationals and stuff like that, but it's not really a deck that I've myself has piloted much, so I've wanted to be as straightforward as possible, basically. We are playing the 4 Trainers Mail, again, more digging, more finding Wally, stuff like that. 4 Ultra Ball, pretty similar, find our Pokemon, find Shaman for draw, those sorts of things. Maximised out the VS Seeker count, makes sense with the 1 Compressor and just spamming some of these one-offs. Onto supporters, we have the 1 of Lysander. There's a big debate whether I should have 1 or 2 in here. I'd love to make space for 2, but I'm determined to have a high acro count just to keep that Wally. I think a 2-2 split is probably fine. The Lysander's a great option for you for stall approaches, because you can just bring something chunky up and try and Silent Fear like 2, 3, 4 more times and you've pretty much won the game. So yeah, Lysander's great. Obviously in Mirror, if you can Lysander as well, that's pretty big. Even just forcing them to attach retreat can sometimes be awkward for them, because a Silent Fear war is interesting, but sometimes you just go for a Tree Slam war to try and get through their Trevenants as quickly as possible. And if you Lysander in that incorporation, either they don't have the energy to attach and you get extra turns to freely attack, or they attach retreat and they're then an attachment behind. So in Mirror it's great as well, so yeah, bear that in mind. 2N, just some shuffle draw. This is really our only out to Shaman EX doing Sky Return loop on us. We just have to end them and hope that they don't get back into Shaman DCE pretty much. It's not the best idea that we have, but a lot of the time decks aren't trying to do that in the first place. It's a bit risky for them to do that too often. So I'm happy with just 2N as the out. You could also debate having these as judges if you're really worried about Sky Return loop. At the moment I'm happy with N, to be honest, because in the early game we get a bit more greed out of it, we get a few more cards, and that's basically the way we go. Especially because we spread damage so much. Normally we can take like 4 prizes to win the game rather than just the last 1 or 2, because we're spreading so much. So N is never really going to punish us too much. We're playing a 3 Sycamore. I don't think we really need 4 in here, because oftentimes we're using other supporters, be it like little techie ones to slow people down, or just Wally itself. So I think 3 is probably correct. Playing the 1 team Flare Grunt. Again, it's putting people a turn behind, a turn backwards on attachments, gets them a turn further away from attacking us. You kind of need this against Aquabox, where they can just sit there with a Manaphy and laugh at you, get rid of all your energy, get rid of all your damage that you do. So you need to keep spamming stuff like Flare Grunt and Lysander to try and win that game. It's really not the best for you, but these are the things that we have for that matchup. Equally, stuff like Darkrai, those sorts of Max Elixir Darkrai decks, they're limited to 1 turn attachment, obviously, so just Flare Grunt away and try and keep their output as low as possible. Kind of awkward for you again, but it's an out for you, and I've won games just off of the back of chaining Flare Grunt like 3 times, then their hand gets dead, then you just win, so there we go. 3 Wally, it's pretty much the kingpin of the deck. There's a debate to playing a full 4. I think 3 is enough with 3 Acro, 4 Mail, and the Compressor, 4 VS Seeker, 4 Ultra. We're going to find it a lot, basically. That's the intention of the deck, so I think 3 is probably the correct count. I think a lot of people have sat on 3, to be honest. 4 does just become clunk. I think you'd probably need a second Compressor if you play 4, just to thin out the Wallies of your deck at that point. We're playing 1 Xerosic as well, similar to the Flare Grunt in that we're trying to slow things down, put them a turn behind, all these sorts of things. Yeah, Xerosic does very much a similar role. At the same time, you can get rid of like float stones that people have on them if they were able to get them on early before you item lock. So yeah, pretty good all round. For D-Valley, need to have the highest count. We need to keep this in play. It's why our attacks are so good. It's because they're discounted by D-Valley, so we need to have those in play. 3 Bursting Balloon, another reason why this deck is amazing against Night March is because not only can we go first and win the game just by item locking, they go first, they initiate the prize race, we swing it back in our favour, even if we're not attacking sometimes, because we can just announce Ascension with a Bursting Balloon on us. They have to get through tons of Bursting Balloons, really not good for them. Eventually we'll get a Trevenant going and start attacking and start initiating the race in our favour. So Bursting Balloon balances us out against the likes of Night March when we're going second. So we can 2-0 Night March players rather than hope to go first, basically. Additionally, it's like I was saying with these big EX Pokemon. If there's a Yveltal EX sat in your way, if there's a Darkrai trying to just punch through every single Trevenant, you have these Bursting Balloons to get their HP a little bit lower so that either we can go into Wobbuffet or we can start going for Tree Slam approaches to get over those big hurdles and then go back to the sniping approach. 2 Floatstone in the deck I think is pretty important, just so that we can move out of our dudes. The Wobbuffet being stuck in the active is hugely irritating if we're going first, because we need to move this. Oftentimes we need the help of Shaymin EX, so trying to find Floatstone as early as possible is fantastic. It's also kind of the reason why we have 2 Mystery Energy in here, so that we can attach to Wob, get out of there ASAP when we're trying to be aggressive and get our Wally going. So another reason for the couple of Mystery Energy. And just round it out with 6 Psychic. I think it's a pretty simple number. 8 has oftentimes been the it's the usual for Trevenant. I think it's probably correct. So that's what we've gone for. So that is the list. No introductions from Steam Siege. Like I say, it doesn't change much at all. So yeah, just more Trevenant things. I still think it's a quality pick for Worlds, and we'll actually get into some battles now and try and prove that point. Hopefully we can go first. So what do you guys think about us being back on PTCGO? I know there's somewhat of a divide between people. A lot of people like seeing our IRL videos. A lot of them like seeing PTCGO. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below as well. And leave a like if you do enjoy this video. Especially because I've got swag Trevenant sleeves. Didn't even realise I did that. I must be pretty cool. Look at those sleeves. Giving away the tricks of the trade. The tricks of our deck. And we start with Wally. So we win, right? Does he scoop? Does he scoop is the question. Ooh. Aegislash. I doubt he'll scoop if he has Aegislash. I mean, we always do this, so... Do we kill VS Seeker here with an Ultra Ball first? Or do we go for... No, we mail first. Figure out what we can get here. If we can't get... Okay, we can't get a supporter, so now we have to Ultra Ball to find a supporter. I'll grab the Bursting Balloon out, just so... I mean, we'll Ultra Ball to find a Shaymin, not a supporter. Even though it's Aegislash, we are often doing damage via our other attack, so I don't mind attaching this. It's 1 card less for us, so... the Bursting Balloons are pretty dead right now. Do I mind getting rid of a Trev? Not really. I should have looked through my deck first, but we can do that now. We've prized 2 Shaymin EX, which is horrific. We've also prized 1 of our Trevenants. 1, 2, 3, yeah. We have all of those. Now that we're in testing mode for Worlds, I actually have to start thinking about this stuff a little bit more. The rest of it's looking pretty good. And okay. So we have Compressor as well, so it was kind of correct to keep the VS Seeker in hand. I think I will attach the Bursting Balloon even though it's not that relevant right now. We just need a card, basically. There's a debate to not attaching it, not benching at all, and just passing here so he can't have any Lysander outs. But now I've committed the Bursting Balloon. I probably should have made that decision before I attached Bursting, but I think it's fine, to be honest. Ultra Ball is fine as well, most likely. I do kind of want to keep the Trev Break around. We can make that play next turn. We can't really get another Shaymin EX, so our hand is fairly dead. So it looks like it's a pass. Not great. Prizing 2 Shaymin EX is pretty bad when we want to be the quote-unquote turbo build that I was praising so much. We said a Bunnelby come onto the bench. Interesting that he opted to put it down. Oh wow, it's a Vileplume build that's playing an Aegislash EX and Metal Energy. Pretty interesting. So it's like a Vileplume boxy style. Oh, D-Valley's cool. Do I still attach an energy here? Rather than put D-Valley in? I feel like I might have to bounce the stadium. I think it's fine to attach. I'm not threatened damage-wise, so we can just attach and start fearing rather than put the D-Valley in just yet. Obviously can't Tree Slam because of the Mystery Energy plus resistance, so we'll try and deal with this Bunnelby as quickly as possible, take a cheeky prize, maybe we pick up Shaymin EX and we're pretty happy. Got a 33% chance of that, so that could be good. See Lysander, here we go. That's probably the only Lysander he plays if it's a Vileplume build. And we're going to see if he can start getting the item lock underway. Maybe I should have attached the Floatstone preemptively for something like that. I think the rest of the stuff was fine to hold, but the only issue of having Mystery Energy in the deck is that we can't attach Retreat Out Shamans as easily. So maybe there was a debate to last turn attaching the second Mystery to this guy. Feels kind of wasteful, but it also covered my bases. So those sorts of things I should have considered a little bit more. But we'll see what our opponent can come up with here. We do see an Ultra Ball for an Oddish. It looks like he might have a Shaymin EX. Oh, there's a Magearna that he plays. Oh, that's actually really annoying for us. Magearna means that Aegislash won't be damaged by Silent Fear now. Oh dear. That's not very good for us. We might have to Zerosic our own Mr. Energy off at some point. And a fresh Shaymin for 6 was pretty cool. Was able to find himself an Ultra Ball as well. Don't know if they have the Forest yet. That might be what he's still digging for. The one good thing that we have going for us is the fact that if he's playing these sorts of techs like Magearna, Aegislash, maybe Aegislash is his main attacker even, who knows. Looks like he does play 2, so hopefully that would mean that his build is less consistent. But if he's not playing the Vespi pieces, then I guess his is more consistent because he's got less Pokemon slots. It's going to be interesting to see. So basically this deck is like horrific against Hex Maniac, but the rest of the time it's pretty solid. We see an actual attachment to the Magearna, which is interesting. Looks like he's protecting it from Silent Fear more than anything else. No item lock is really great for us. So we can get a retreat going. I think it's fine just to... There's no real need to put this in just yet. We may play the Ultra Ball just to play it. And I guess we could Wally at the same time. Get some stuff out of our hand. Obviously we can't get the Shaymin, so we'll just get the value here while we can start developing another Trev. We're not in danger just yet, but it's something that we want to start developing. Also doing this means that we have 2 less awkward top decks, and we're more likely to get into good supporters and other things like that. Happy to commit this at this point. Am I? No, I'm not. Just because it's a special energy rather than a regular one. So just the damage to the bench dudes, but there's still 6 prizes here sat for us, and maybe we can pull 33% chance of a Shaymin EX. Let's see. Oh boys, we got lucky. Very cool. We got the 1 in 3. Well, it was literally a 2 in 6, so... We're going to see the Aegislash come down. Still no item lock for us. The Unknown comes into play before the Professor Sycamore, so he is also playing the Vespiquen pieces, so this proof was in the pudding really that he couldn't get the early Vileplume because of these sorts of tech cards, the Magearna, the 2 Aegislash that he played, and the amount of Metal Energy, however many it is. So this is like, it's a build that's really meant to be annoying for the likes of Night March, it's meant to be really annoying for the likes of the Mirror Match, and in a way Trevenant because of this Magearna. So it's a really interesting deck choice. This player could be testing for Worlds, you never really know. I'm happy to play the Shaymin EX at this point. And I don't really need to Sycamore. There's nothing else I need this turn, so I'm happy just to spam Silent Fear. Seems good. We'll eventually get through some Shaymins, draw a lot of prizes. At the moment he's poking for 60 at a time. I'm really not concerned by this. He has somewhat set up the Magearna for a Soul Blaster, but it seems expensive to pay all that energy to retreat. We'll see what he does. We see an attachment to the Shaymin EX, so he plays a lot of Metal Energy it looks like, which is really awkward for us. So we're going to Break Evolve. We can attach and play the Stadium. And then we can like retreat out of this one, play the Sycamore first, of course. Retreat out of this one if necessary. I don't think it's too necessary right now, because I think it's fine actually. So we will get rid of the mystery in the process. And we'll keep Silent Fearing. There's still 2 targets that we're getting damage on. Doesn't seem great for us, but right now it's all we have. I can't imagine he plays many more Metal Energy. I think 4 would be the highest count I could think of. But we'll see. We do see an AZ picking up the Shaymin EX, so pretty much everything's covered apart from this Vileplume. And we see the first amount of damage coming onto us here. So we do have the Team Flagrant, which I will be playing. Obviously it's going to be on the Metal Energy, so we can start doing damage again to this thing. We don't really need to commit much. I can bench Phantump just for an energy attachment. I think I will do that. We have the Xerosic for next turn on this thing, so we're still in fairly good shape for the Silent Fear approach. Also, getting rid of this energy means he can't retreat as easily. He might be playing quite a few AZ. He might be playing more than one. Again, it's one of these things that I don't know the list well enough to figure out what he has. So we're going to see the replacement of the Stadium. And bear in mind he only has 9 cards left yet to take a prize, so that's also boding very well for us. Kind of don't really want to risk the Xerosic just yet, because then it plays into an AZ for him. So we'll just hold this for now, see what he does. There might be a point where he wants to actually attack with Magearna, then we can sort of catch it in the active position. And we've also bought items for ourselves and our opponent, so we'll see what he can do with these things this turn. It's kind of a stalemate situation right now. Oh, he can't have items, obviously, because we got Trev. So yeah, we won, even with Magearna and its little sneaky tactics. But yeah, it looks like he just didn't have enough damage in his deck to deal with the Trevenant, so that's early win for us, which is cool. Magearna could be one of these cards that sneaks back into the Metal deck, and it's something to worry about for Trevenant, but I'm not expecting Metal to be huge at Worlds, just because I don't think it has a great Night March. I think it has ways it can win, but it's never too fantastic, so we'll see what we can do. We do lose the coin flip, so our opponent gets the option to go first, and they do choose to do so. Obviously the deck has a much higher win percentage when it does go first, as we did that last game. And we did get the Wally as well, so we do reveal a mulligan, showing off pretty much all of our secrets, and we actually lead Shaymin EX, pretty awkward for us, so it means that when our turn begins, we have to either attach an energy and find D-Valley for the Phantump to Ascension, or we need to Float Stone attach to Phantump, or Float Stone into D-Valley. Lots of combos. Even we could AZ into either D-Valley or Energy as well. Lots of combos that we need to hit. Good start though. We hit Phantom and Energy. So, oh, so cool. We have one of those scenarios that I just mentioned. We will Trainer's Mail first. If we mail into a... I maybe should have Trainer's Mailed even before this. That was kind of rash. Oh well. Because we could have got AZ. We don't know. We do just get the Sycamore. See an energy on this, it does the 50, okay. We can take Sycamore here. There's also a debate to getting the Bursting Balloon and just Ultra Balling for a Shaymin, but I don't think I want to. I think actually a very slow route would be just to retreat Lysander Ascension. Don't think it's too bad, because we want to threaten this. We don't want him to get the acceleration going. So we'll do this. Now he just has to like attach retreat. It's way better for us than getting 4 energy into play. Trevenant's not great when that happens, especially against a water-based deck. I'm imagining there's Rough Seas in here, and even this guy's a good attacker, so... What we want to do is evolve up, Sycamore out, try and get another energy and start tree slamming this thing if we're able. Our opponent does have the Lysander, which is not great for us, so there's potential for him to get elixirs if he's playing them, but instead we do just see the energy switch. That's horrific for us, because there's going to be some Aqua Turbos going on right now. Setting up the Manaphy is really not great for us, so we'll see what we can do here. Our opponent, again, has not benched many things as well. That's also an issue for us. Just 1 energy. That's really bizarre. I have no idea why he wouldn't attach to... It's a fake out. Who knows? I think I still Sycamore here. Because we need a few things. Bursting Balloon's good. The Compressor's going to be helpful to us as well. We can get rid of a few less useful things. Wally is much less useful. I think the Xerosic is also not very useful. There is that Fury Belt attached, but beyond that, not great. We've also prized a Dimension Valley, which is not good for us. Yeah, really not good. So we're going to commit an energy, commit the bursting, retreat, and start going for the Silent Fear. Hopefully these bursting balloons can do work, at least buy us some turns. We kind of want to see him put the Rough Seas down before us, so we'll see if he does that as well. There is a Rough Seas. So in a way that's bad for us, in a way it's fine. We see another attachment, which is ugly. We see a Professor Sycamore, gets rid of a Hooper. Man, Palkia EX is a real headache for Trevenant. Because he's set himself up for a Pearl Hurricane as well, which is not great. We do get that cheeky 60 damage on there. I think Flare Grunt might actually be our best option here. It guarantees that we're alive. So I think I'll do that. It means we cash in on the Bursting Balloon as well. Most likely. Or he could just heal pass. Heal attach pass is probably okay. Yeah, there's the heal. See an energy onto Manaphy, so now he could free retreat. Okay, really not good for us. Whoa, he mineral pumped. He just gave us a knockout. That's cool. Sycamore is much more aggressive. Yep, let's be aggro. We need things. We need lots of Phantump. 2 would be probably ideal, and an attachment would be ideal. Also a movement of the stadium. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why we have Acro and Mail. So we want Phantump and Energy. Well, we want all sorts here, so okay, we'll grab 2 VS Seeker. Sure, why not? And a Stadium is fine. 1 Phantump I can live with, but no energy attachment's awkward. So now we definitely Tree Slam. I'm just debating whether or not to put down this Wobbuffet. He comes in, deals 50, which is enough for the knockout. I promote this. Doesn't really affect it, so it's fine, I think, for now. That was a really weird attack from him. I thought he was going to pass the turn, but he sort of gave us a knockout, which is fine. So again, it's a ticking clock on this one Palkia now. We see another manual attachment and an N. Kind of awkward for us because I was really liking the 2 VS Seekers that we had so that we could keep Flare Grunting away. At the same time, we needed energy, so we don't get that. And we do see a replacement Stadium, which is awkward. This Palkia looking very healthy all over again. This Pearl Hurricane's actually really awkward because that 30 damage snipe twice onto this is even really good. So Palkia is a bit of a pain, it turns out, for this matchup. Can he accelerate to himself? Oh, it has to be the bench. Okay, cool. So lone Palkia, can we get over it is the question. At the moment, no. It's going to be one of these things where Wob could be the saviour later on. We just sort of drop it and win if he wants to play nothing else. Okay, so we'll do this. We'll Ultra Ball, find ourselves a Trev, and we'll crack on with our lives. Oof, I was worried then. I thought we were out. We need to find our Ash pretty soon. Okie dokie. There's an energy. A couple of Acrobike as well won't go amiss because we do need to find ourselves the Stadium. Bursting Balloon's nice. Do I need a supporter to follow this up? No, not really, because we have Shaman and we still have some more draw, so Let's see. VS Seeker's fine. Don't mind getting rid of Wally at all. That wasn't too painful. Ooh, Phantump and Energy. Okay. We're going to get Sacred Ash soon. I think we need the Energy. We'll take that. Sorry, Phantump. Love you, mate. Okay. So, there's debate here to not going active, because Pearl Hurricane is awful. Gives him a turn of items for potential Lysander, but that's really about all we're giving him. Other than him benching stuff and going crazy with elixirs, but I don't feel that's the line he's going for. Otherwise he would have benched something last turn and got like a double Aqua Turbo. So, I think we're fine to pass here. We're not fine, but we have to. We can't even retreat Ascension. Yeah, there's no point in Bursting Balloon anyway. I think we pass. Let's see what that does for us. We just don't want to see VS Seeker for Lysander. Okay, cool. Cool. I can live with this. The 30 snipe, is that relevant? 31, 30. Yes, it is. Oh dear. Not good. Really not good. So we need to do a lot here. Need to do that. Need to do that. Do I need to do 60 damage? 60. I think I will do the 60. We'll slap a balloon. Play Shaman. Hope to find Wob and Ash. That's the biggest two things I want at this point. We got those things. Okay, this gives me a lot of Trevs. Huzzah. And I VS Seeker for Flagrant, I think. There's a potential that that buys me a turn. If not, we're threatening the Wob effect. We'll see what he can do here. Hopefully it's not Energy plus Rough Seas. That's the nightmare right now. He did like nothing when he didn't have item lock though, so I'm kind of concerned what his hand is. How much energy's been played? 4, 5, 6, 7. Still got quite a few in that deck. I imagine he plays like 12. Let's see if this is a puzzle for him or not. Goes down to 120. Okay, cool. We're looking okay here. Not in the worst shape in the world. Could be worse, but only marginally. Glaceon is also a pain. Why aren't we playing Ranger? Oh, Zerosic is so good. Oh, okay, he didn't have the damage at least. Okay. We're not officially dead. So this goes here, I think. We want to like hide this a little bit. Do I start spreading? I think I have to start spreading. Oh no, I still kind of need the damage to get over this initially. Okay. I gotta commit to Tree Slam here. I have to get over the Palkia before anything else happens. He only attached 1 energy again. So weird. Not great for us. Really not great. He could even manually retreat and go for second bite. Which would be pretty horrendous. We'll see. We shall see. See another lightning attachment. So Crystal Rays set up. It's not great. Crystal Ray doesn't knock us out though, so it would have to be second bite if he wants to attack with this. He does want to attack with this. Giovanni scheme? What? We have been answered in so many weird ways this game. Brutal. So brutal. Well, we have free retreat of this, so we'll send this guy up. Okay. Now I need to decide before I evolve what I'm attacking with. Am I doing 30 damage or am I doing 0 damage? And evolving. I think I'm running out of turns to win this game. So we're going to go Wob. Oops. We're going to evolve and go Wob. Bear in mind we can still deal 3 counters. I believe. I'm not sure. Oh dear, running out of turns. It's not what I wanted. Really not what I wanted. So he continues with just Ray now. Not a good matchup for us. But you have to consider, how many of this deck are you going to see at Worlds? How many Palkia Glaceons are you going to see at Worlds that also plays a Giovanni scheme? Well, that's what I would ask you guys. And who knows the answer? This could be the deck. At the moment, I don't think it is. Call me crazy, but I don't think the Palkia Glaceon will win the World Championships. Call me a snob, but I'm skeptical. It's certainly found a way of beating... Okay, we're conceding. I think we're out of energy. We can't move this Wob now, or attack. Where? Super sad times. I think we're out of energy. 4, 5... Can't play this because we lose. Yeah, I think it's time to say well played, sir. Good counter Trev deck, bro. Okay, so there we are, Trevenant. We won one game and lost to a horrific matchup. That just kind of happens sometimes. We were in it for a bit, but that crazy turn. Oh man. Anyway, there we go. I hope you all enjoyed the list and the battles and the fact that we're back on PTCGO. More videos to come, so leave a like to this video if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already for plenty more of these sorts of videos on the channel. For now though, it has been Joe from Omnipoke, and I'll see you guys next time.